Okay, so third time's a charm. In this case, it feels like the 14th. Shane here, daily-astrocat.com, and today I'm here with my Capricorn season preview. Now, we're already halfway through it, so what kind of preview is it? Well, it's part retrospective because we went through the Yule season, and that was something that was totally different. And, it felt different, and I think that it deserves to feel different. Today, we're going to follow up on the rest of the Capricorn season. We're going to go back to the New Year's Eve and basically take you through what to expect for the next coming weeks. So stay with me and let's go. The winter solstice run its course, right? The 13 days of Yule culminate with New Year's Day. So last intentions made. Now, traditional time to wish everyone to have a happy and prosperous New Year. The Capricorn season now is in full swing. Accountability will flow like the champagne at midnight on the 31st. Oh boy, did it ever. Now, after the full moon in Cancer, we will be really getting down to the business at hand. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down some of the underlying astrology. We're going to go through some charts, and we're going to get this set, right? This is the fifth in a monthly series. This is the fifth time I'm doing this. And it follows the flow of astrology, in accordance with the old ways, okay? By the moon, by the season, and by the tropical sun sign, okay? I kind of get caught up in that New Year's Eve stuff. And it was important for a reason, and I'll probably touch on that when I get to there. But this, this puts us more in touch with nature and the cycle of the earth and the moon. So, and the more we're in touch with that, the more we realize that we are actually of the stars. So let's just keep on moving along here, shall we? So basically what I've got some stuff going on here. We got some stuff. Let's do this. Okay, so these charts remind me of the latter part of the Scorpio season as I was going through it. But the only difference is that Venus is actually in the mix now. Before we had these planets all clustered together, the Sun, Mars, and Mercury all kind of clustered together at the end of the Scorpio season. And they were getting there. We had a big stellium in there. We had Black Moon Lilith in with it. And we didn't quite get, the Sun wasn't quite catching up with it. But we're there, right? Now, it reminds me of that for some reason. Now, there's a tight stellium between the Sun, Mars, Venus, and Mercury. So what follows is going to be a focus on getting serious work back on track. Does that make sense? It's kind of like getting back to the fundamentals that got us here in the first place. It's been a constant mantra, right? We've been doing it for a couple of weeks now. So, yeah, that's what the mantra is. What does that mean? Well, it means that there's going to be a tight progression of conjunctions between the stellium and Mars, and then trines with Jupiter. So anything that's in that stellium is going to be conjunct with each other because the Sun's moving through it, Venus is moving through it, and soon Mercury's going to be moving through it. And then after that, we're going to see that any aspects with that, say like the planets in Pisces, they're going to be making sextiles with that. So it's going to be interesting. And then Uranus is in Taurus. That will be a trine. So these planets are going to start positioning themselves into that little creative mini grand trine that Pluto's at the head of as we get towards the end of the Scorpio season. Scorpio, listen to me. Capricorn season. Okay, I see Scorpio on my screen, and that's what I'm reading. Okay, so look, the lunations, they're not going to matter, right? Because we got the moon coming up. So we're going to talk about that, all right? So let's go. Looks like I didn't change that part, right? So here we have December 31st at 4:11. What was important about this? Well, we can see the stellium forming right here. We got Mars, Sun, and Venus. We've got Mercury coming in. Mercury's probably about 4 degrees behind or something like that. Well within the orb to be considered part of the stellium, even though stelliums do get kind of a tighter orb. But for our purposes, it's going to be brought into it because it's the proximity to the Sun, which is a luminary. A major planet has almost a 10-degree orb, the moon and the Sun. So then we have Pluto sitting out there, and you can see Pluto just kind of like waiting in the wings. Now, what happened on this day is we've got Saturn sitting out here. Saturn's right here, and we've got Neptune here. I circled Neptune because Neptune is actually, Mercury is squaring Neptune on this day. So, it wasn't a great day for like a lot of communication and thinking and stuff like that if you go back to it. But it did work out for us because we did have intentions. And honestly, that squaring of intentions quiets down the vocal part of what we're saying, and it actually enhances the nonverbal part, right? The understood, the intuitive part. Okay, so now look, got it here, right? Well, basically it's the evening. Okay, so Mercury entering Capricorn. Very important point, right? It's going to happen on New Year's Day. You can see it right here. He's kind of just off to the side. Hasn't entered it yet. But here's our New Year's Eve conglomeration. Now, Evan, in the comments on on one of the videos of the day of the, probably on the 30th, agreed with me that today was an official chance for procrastinators to wrap up their business. Yeah, Evan, way to go, right? It's a very busy day by all accounts, okay? And that was New Year's Day. And it really was. It was very, very busy. Now, all the planets in the sextile are basically conjunct the North Node. So there's a destiny there, right? So we just had to figure out what it was we were doing, make our intentions, do all that stuff, right? It's all done. Okay, so let's move right along then. So here we go where Mercury comes into Sagittarius, leaves Sagittarius and comes into Capricorn. Now, this happened at 4:11 on the East Coast. Now, that would be on New Year's Day. Now, the Sun, Venus, and Mars are in a tight stellium. The concentrated Capricorn energy is going to empower the man, okay? And we're going to feel that to the beginning of the week, right? We're going to see the man strengthened. Now, there was some authoritative stuff that was done in world events, right? The man decided to move. Yeah, this stuff resonates, right? And it's there. So this was written before any of that happened. So I just want you to think about that. It empowers the man. Capricorn rules structures and institutions. And those things are going to affect us, not only world events, but it also affects our workplace, more so than the home or a side hustle situation. So our side hustle situation, we're responsible to ourselves, right? We're not responsible to some outside authority who's going to impose its will upon us, right? That's what we subject ourselves to for a paycheck, all right? So unless you're really that hard on yourself, which you shouldn't be, okay? So let's just leave it right there, okay? Everyone who has a job is fulfilling a role, and that role comes with a job description, right? There's certain elements of leadership that find it hard to accept the cyclical nature of some businesses. Just can't, right? We have to have the performance all the time, right? Even if something goes wrong or whatever it is. Now, that energy is going to be felt and communicated. Not in a bad way, because after all, Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, is an empathetic and communicative and supportive. Well, it's an empathetic and supportive Pisces. Eventually, all of this works out. It does. That's in the astrology. But for now, we have a great opportunity to get work done that will bring structure and regularity to most of our 5D endeavors. And that is what I'm doing right here. That's what I did with the newsletter. So, and you should have some of those things going on too, your own work that you find fulfilling. Please don't waste any time trying to bring something new about. Just follow up on your old ideas. That's usually the best thing that we can do. Now, this chart right here, this is for the full wolf moon in Cancer. Now, this happened on the 3rd. So we got the full wolf moon here. And you can see that's like less than 8 degrees from Jupiter. And Jupiter is a big enough body that we're starting to rope some of that lunar energy in. So there's an expansive quality to what is going on here, right? And this allows us to assess the growth that we've experienced, not just since this last month, but since the summer when the sun was in Cancer. Really, this feels like a culmination of that point, right? We came up, we've done some good things. We celebrated those good things. Now we have to just be able to get back to whatever the fundamentals are so we can keep those good things going, right? We got to keep the good times rolling. Look, if you're not happy with your 3D job or something like that, start tweaking some things. Start doing some things that are different. Get back to what it is that you did that made you successful before, okay? The cycle responds best to frequency. Like, you're not trying to change the wave. You just want it to resonate higher, okay? And that's going to capture that. Full moon captures that, and we're going to fully capture that with the new moon on the 18th. Okay, we're not going to make any hasty decisions here because they don't go well in Capricorn season. We want to make sure that we have freedom, and that freedom ensures us the money to be able to do what it was that we want to be a part of, and it makes us part of whatever it is that we decide that we want to be part of. Now, moving right along, we've got the 6th. So now we're starting to jump ahead. We're going to go to the Sun conjunct Venus. That was the point of the newsletter. That was that Venus conjunction, the superior Venus conjunction, out on the outside of the petal as it turns in and starts to return to Scorpio. Okay, so we're at the almost like a culmination point of Venus in Aries. Now, I gave a whole track record of what my endeavors did. I actually started daily-astrocat.com with Venus in that, right after that conjunction with, right after that retrograde, the inferior conjunction with the Sun, and started that new petal, right? 8 years ago, because it's an 8-year cycle. 8 years in the same sign. Everything on that rosette that you may have seen on in the newsletter, yes, that repeats itself every 8 years. Okay, so if you're not part of the newsletter, make sure you do it, okay? Go to the website. Sign up. You'll get some interesting things. Now, we're turning the corner to complete the Venus in Aries petal. Venus, that 8-year cycle that I just talked about. Now, look, we have 8 years ago, we experienced the same conjunction, but at about 18 degrees of Capricorn, somewhere around there, right? Now, this gives us a powerful indication of how our powers of attraction will be opening up and operating until the next petal forms, right? Look, the year that just passed delivered an opportunity, and now we capitalize on this opportunity. That whatever happened back in, since March to you, basically, since April, middle of April, right? Whatever's happened since then, we're still bringing that to fruition and culminating in it, right? We're learning how to exist in that petal so that now we can go out and take that Scorpio power and be able to apply it and win, right? Because that's, honestly, Scorpio is that fixed determination to go out and win this stuff, right? Now, so AstroCat, we can see the formation of I put that in there for me just so I could talk about my AstroCat experience. So we can see the formation of a creative mini grand trine between Black Moon Lilith right here, and we have Neptune and Pluto. Neptune over here, Pluto over here. Now get ready for a creative shift that's going to satisfy your craving, right? You want to explore whatever it is, and we want to make sure that whatever we're doing is going to be really out there. I can't begin to tell you how avant-garde this is going to get after February. It's going to be huge, and really you should be looking forward to it and putting some of your wilder ideas together, but get your fundamentals down first, right? Don't just start getting weird without any basis for getting weird, Picasso was a classical painter before he became Picasso. So with that being said, let's move right along. Now we have the 9th. So the 9th is going to be Sun and Mars conjunct. So I told you there's a bunch of conjunctions in here. All these planets are all just coming together, right? That means we're going to have Venus and Mars coming together too. Yep, we are. Now, great for romance, great for prospects, right? That those long-lasting relationships that are based on something solid, right? Connections, societal ones, maybe arranged marriages, who knows? Just kidding, but maybe I'm not. Okay, so what have your actions delivered to you? Think about that, because now we've got to take gains and take some of the actions that we've done and move them forward. 3D, 5D. This is where our actions are no longer the most important way forward. That's right. Because now it's going to be what we embody and what we care to attract or create. Because eventually Venus will pass the sun and be the lead planet. But for now, the sun will be the lead planet. So now it's like, ta-da, we're here. What are you going to do to sustain that? What are you going to do to keep that spotlight on you, right? That's kind of a Leo thing, right? Now, the message is more attractive, more scientific, and more personal than ever before. Your passion for the subject, for whatever subject that you pursue or you're exposing or expounding upon, is what's important, because that will help your efforts, your passion for your art, your passion for your creativity. Now, transitioning along, we're also looking at 2 planets in retrograde, okay? Because we only have 2. Remember, before we had a whole bunch, just not even too long ago. Those outer planets always go retrograde because it's when the Earth catches up to them, when it passes them, right? Our orbit. The only ones that we don't are Mercury and Venus, because Mercury, it goes around the sun 3 times. We have 3 retrogrades every year. Occasionally we can have 4. Same thing with Venus. Venus matches Earth's orbit so closely that it makes that wonderful geometric pattern, right? It's that golden ratio between the 2 orbits, 1.61 or 1.62, right? Yes. So 1.62 to 1. So now look, I had this time last year, let's think about this. We can feel the momentum starting to build. We've got the 2 planets retrograde. We're thinking about this, right? Last year on YouTube, I probably had my highest month of viewership between February and early April, okay? That is something that just was there, all right? Now, going back to some of that stuff that works, some of these formats, some of the presaging, getting back to the website, digging in, making sure that stuff is posted. Any changes you make from now until the Aries season should be to actually make your job of whatever it is you produce easier, okay? Creatively, this is a huge time for us as well. Aquarius season is the time to truly get weird and experimental. So we got to get our fundamentals down in Capricorn. Then we're going to let it get weird once we enter Aquarius. So let's go back over here. Now, this is the 12th. So here's the 12th, and we're going to have Venus square with Chiron. Now, what is this? Is this your dreams of dieting and like exercise being dashed? Could be. Or, maybe there's something that we need to do to make it more attractive to us to want to do this kind of activity. Is the health issues just enough? Okay. Venus is square Chiron on the 12th. Unaddressed health issues could really affect us. We're at the height of the cold and flu season, and there are some doozies out there, trust me. All right? There are. So, also, nagging injuries, they could get worse too. So, especially before they get better. So, as the Sun and Mars will quickly follow Venus in this, because Venus is out front now. Okay, she's in the lead. Okay, she's in front of the sun. She's going to be racing now because she made that pedal. She's going to get out there, and we're going to start seeing her visible in the sky very soon too. All right, so as we start seeing Venus visible, then, and she's actually going to be in her morning star phase because she's before the sun, right? Mm-hmm. Or is it after? Yeah, it's after. She'll be the evening star. She's rising in the evening now. You'll start seeing her at night. So that'll be very curious and interesting, right? So let's just take a look at that. Look, Mercury has finally joined the stellium because it's like within 5 degrees. So now Mercury is going to be moving closer to Mars. That's always a good time. Look, it's time to be responsible. Better food and lifestyle choices. We need to double down on that and intensify that. Don't lose it now. Don't let yourself throw that away. Don't give up what you're doing for something that's tasty or convenient, right? Because that's what Venus wants. Venus wants the easy pleasure, right? Easy pleasure. That's why it's square Chiron. And, the succession of squares is going to make it seem harder than it actually is. Honestly, it's within yourself what you're really struggling against. And now by the 15th, we come along and we have a bit of good news. All right. We see that the markets start recovering. We see things start to recover. There was markets that were down just a little bit. Cryptocurrencies went down. Now they're starting to go up. Traditional investments, this kind of peaks around right on the 15th. Now, it can come a week before. So, if you're starting to see it now, you're starting to see it because this position kind of favors it because everybody's trying Uranus in Taurus. You can see it right here. Boom. And it's starting to join the talent trine too. They're coming in with Neptune and they're going to Uranus. So look, sextiles with Saturn. There's some sextiles with Saturn because Saturn is close enough. Look, they mean that we've reached the top of the mountain and we're ready to begin our descent. The upcoming Chinese New Year, the year of the horse, that's going to happen in February, right? Is like a year-long sojourn in freedom-loving Aquarius, all right? Yep, that's what it's going to be like. Personally, I'm going to find it very challenging to stay on track with my dual and with my dual jobs here. And, we just have to make sure our circumstances allow us to do these things over the coming year, okay? Channel this energy into your art, the freedom, the energy, the movement, right? And let it take some form, right? Let these expressions take form, and we can produce some merchandise with it, right? that are merchandisable. So I mean that's something that's very interesting. Venus entering Aquarius, Venus will be the first planet to enter Aquarius. She will do so on the 17th. And you can see when she enters Aquarius, she'll be trine with Saturn. The sun will be trine Saturn on the same day. So the sun's actually moving behind, and that perfects. It's already there. We don't have to wait for it to perfect to say, oh, the sun's trine Uranus. No, it happens right when it's with an orb. Okay, so I would tell you to hold your horses, okay? But they've already left the barn, okay? By the time you wake up on the 17th, they're already gone, okay? You can see the sun is now trine with Uranus as well. Venus in Aquarius will neutralize Pluto, okay? It's fine, but we have a couple of issues, okay? Propaganda and constant attacks on the press that are bringing public discourse down and making it public service less than desirable. Okay, a lot of people are just like, why would I do that? Why would I subject myself to that? Okay, look, we need talent in these areas, right? Venus in Aquarius is ready to break away from the rigid discipline of Capricorn, but not so fast, okay? Saturn, the co-ruler of Aquarius, is in Pisces. Venus will begin attracting folks intellectually to us, right? Because the air signs are intellectual. Aquarius, yes, an intellectual sign. The more unusual your viewpoint, the more appealing you will be. This applies to any and all art forms. Art, that's what we're driving towards, right? And this will lead up to the new moon in Capricorn. You can see how everything has been made just a little bit wilder because we've got these aspects with Uranus down here. That being said, here's our new moon on the 18th. The new moon on the 18th is going to be in the cardinal sign of Capricorn. It's one of those seed points, right? Like 0 degrees Aries. We're there. We got a seed point here, right? It's not a world point because that would be 0 degrees Capricorn or the 0 degrees of any of the cardinal signs because that's where the seasons begin. However, we do need to note that we've got some constructive energies that are working now. And now we can start using those, right? We went through the month getting our fundamentals down, and we're trying to get back to where we were at. Now we're almost ready to take it and roll with it, right? Venus isn't hardly waiting. It's like she steps into Aquarius, and it's like, okay, let's let it fly. Okay, there is a cradle that has formed, and you can see it right here, these 3 yellow lines. And basically that just takes all of what we're experiencing right now and just, it puts us in a comfortable position. We're kind of nestled in that. We're protected from whatever's out here, whatever kind of scrutiny we're coming under from either, putting stuff out too early or whatever if we're not detailed enough, whatever it is that we're doing, we just have to make sure that we are putting it out there to be concise, right? Because Saturn can expand all that, but do we really want to emerge from the cradle just yet to get into what Saturn's doing? Well, Jupiter. I'm sorry, Jupiter down here. Do we really want to leave this cradle just yet? Well, yeah, you kind of do, because there's some yod points out here, unseen points, that we really need to get through and we need to anticipate in our mind. So once these planets move out of this configuration, that's going to erase that. That's not going to count anymore. And what will count is how we're going to expand and how we're going to expand our home base and be able to have it serve us in a way that's useful and going to be dynamic. Now, look, since it occurs in the broad stellium, this ropes in Pluto. Okay, so Pluto's here. Pluto starts getting roped into the stellium because Venus goes into the Aquarius, close enough to Pluto. Boom, Pluto's in the stellium. Now, missing from our previous efforts was a technological edge. Really was. It was more like we were victims of tech rather than supported by it. How true is that? Now it's about to change. The cradle has formed, and this will be our impetus moving forward. Yep, we're going to form up behind that cradle to protect us from the tech, right? The tech will start working for us. By June, the 3D world will be cruising, okay? And the abundance we called for in the new year is not disappointing us. Nope, not by June, right? That's where we got to go. The new seed point will be best served if we can find a means of expression that can help others and provide context to our collective lives. Yep, we got a more dynamic and creative mode of operation for this year now. Don't fight it. Go with it. And on the 19th, we've got the Sun trining Uranus. So now here we go with the last trine of perfection, right? We already talked about it being there. There's nothing new here except everything's new. It all seems new. There's so many possibilities there that we have that we just have to be like, whoa, we've got the Sun trining Uranus just as we're going to enter into the Aquarius season. So we've got everything laid out in front of us. The Sun and Uranus highlight changes in our attitude towards wealth and the enjoyment of life. You are on a decidedly new creative path. Just how weird this gets is up to you. Now, that being said, thank you very much for watching this. Please take the time to like this video. Smash the button down below and show me some love. Make daily-astrocat.com part of your routine, daily routine. That's why it's daily. I do this every day. The podcast is wherever you can get your podcasts. So it's on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, anyone, you name it, Pocket Cast, anything. Wherever you get podcasts from, we're there. Just look for daily-astrocat.com or the Daily Astrocat Astrology Report. Okay, we got a podcast. You got it. So make sure you subscribe. Go to our website, subscribe, get the emails. That's all I have for you. Happy Capricorn season and happy astro-catting.